is good, everybody? My name is Mark. So glad you found us right here at the Weekday Wagers, the Wednesday edition of the Weekday Wagers. Why is that such a special day? Because this is Happy Robbie's Radar Day for all those who celebrate. Can't wait to jump into the four guys that Robbie's targeting for the NFL this weekend. I'm pumped for this week. We got a jam-packed show. We're going to be talking a little bit about what happened last night in that Anaheim Ducks Colorado Avalanche game. We're going to get to that in just a few minutes. We got our best bets ahead. We've got the Daily Dinger, who's going to light the lamp. And as always, we got the best chat in the business, and it's like that for a reason. We missed the People's Parlay last night. Tyrese Maxey, thank you very much. Needed you to do just a little bit more. So listen, let's come back tonight. Let's start dropping some plays in here that we like. We'll run them through the model again. Let's spit out a winner this time. We got to end up. We're midweek. We need a People's Parlay that cashes. But before we move forward, let's take a look back and see what happened last night. And you know what? We did all right. Well, I say that. Capri Sun was a no-show in that game. Toronto-Boston, we saw a ton of goals in that one. I think there was 3 first-period goals within the first 10 minutes. So that was a good one. We also had something else happen last night, and it kind of bothers me. You know the saying, all good things must come to an end, and you can't start a streak without winning the first one again. And unfortunately, our play of the day last night, we lost. I was watching that game, and it was so frustrating because it was a last-second shot, meaningless three-pointer that brought the game to 4 points instead of the 7, which would have cashed our ticket. I was furious. Enough said. We start again today. The play of the day is the San Diego Toreros plus 1.5. I'm going to tell you what. So the model identified San Diego as a money line winner, as an upset money line winner over the Idaho Vandals. San Diego's playing at home. They're, as a straight up winner, they're 52.1% in the Sims to win this one straight up. They're catching a 1.5. It moves that to 73.1%. So while I guess it's looking at what should be a close game, it's also looking at a very low scoring game. So San Diego plus 1.5 at minus 110. Let's get back on the winning ways. And if you could do us a favor, hit that like button, please. It really does help us grow. And it's Wednesday. And that only means one thing. It means our guy, Robbie. Robbie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Kirill, not so thrilling last night. Neither was that game. It was a terrible game to watch. Neither offense did anything. And yes, DG, the Ducks met an actual good team last night, but they played well. I will say the final score didn't dictate how they actually played last night.
Yeah, let's get into that a little more because, as I'm watching that game and the way it kind of just transpired and started playing out, I was asking myself the question is, the Ducks seem to be a little bit off. And I couldn't figure out more if it was the Ducks having a bad night because look, they're the highest scoring NHL team on average going right now for the season. Or is it that they just went up some really good competition in the Avalanche? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, a few things. I think Nate put it in the chat yesterday too. Going to Colorado and that elevation, that messes with you. I don't care what you say, that's got to mess with you. Scott Wedgwood is also it's also Scott Wedgwood's a hell of a goalie. I think he's a good goalie. The Avs have a great defense, and Nate McKinnon just kept doing Nate McKinnon things. He had, I think, 3 points last night, putting him at 12 in his last 3 games. So I don't think it was that the Ducks were the worst team. I just think it was a lot of compounding things that forced that game kind of be a little out of hand.
Yeah, Wedgwood's got a 91% save rate, which is slightly above league average. But he really just seems to show up when the moments are big. And I can tell you firsthand, having gone to Denver, and somebody had the great idea to let's go hike up in Red Rocks. And I was literally a mile and a half into that walk. I'm gasping for air. You can't breathe. I couldn't breathe. And my fat ass was just in no condition to be out there trying to be Colorado-like and out there hiking and enjoying the scenery. I couldn't breathe. So it is real.
Yeah. And I mean, you're talking about a team coming from California too, who predominantly plays in the California area. Two different areas. I will say Leo Carlson continued his goal streak. He got a goal last night, so I cashed at least that ticket in that game. But Leo Carlson's still doing some crazy good things. I know me and DG were talking about a Cutter Gauthier ticket, but it might be time to look at Leo Carlson for a futures as well if he keeps playing the way he is.
I really was impressed with his play last night. Do you think this changes the Ducks' trajectory as it goes forward, or was this kind of a one-off?
I think it was more of a one-off. You may see, I mean, but hockey teams do this, right? They go streaky. They'll go on good runs, and then it's like once they hit one bad game, it seems like it compounds into 2 or 3 other ones. But the Ducks are too talented. They score too much, and then also their head coach he's been there before, so I think he'll get them steered back in the right direction.
All right. Well, we've hit that time. We've been talking for 5 minutes, and people are sick of listening to me talk already. They want what they came here for every single Wednesday. Little Robbie's Radar. Robbie's Radar, and we're going to start off with Josh Jacobs and the Green Bay Packers. They're taking on the Giants. After what we saw from this Green Bay team this past week, why do you like Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, and I even put that in my write-up. I know what you're thinking. Why would you touch any player from Green Bay after Monday night, right? And I get it. I do. But the Giants just fired their head coach. The Giants are one of the worst. They're actually the second worst team in rushing yards allowed in the NFL. They're allowing 152.1 rushing yards a game. That's quarterbacks, running backs, whatever. And against running back number ones, they're averaging 84.3 yards per game against this Giants team. Look, I think that the Packers are 7.5 point favorites for a reason. I think this is a good bounce back spot. I see them leaning on Josh Jacobs. He seemed to be the only one that was actually doing anything on Monday night. But I like a lot of his props. I like his rushing prop. I like his longest rush. And if you're into sprinkling on some touchdowns, I'm into his 2+ touchdowns because he's done that 3 times this year. And the Giants have allowed that in 2 of their last 3 games as well.
All righty. I like it. And I'm sorry, I missed it. Have any of his lines dropped yet? Or are we still waiting?
Yeah, I grabbed his rushing yards at 78.5 at -115. That was at Hard Rock. And then I have I'm waiting on his rushing and receiving. That one hasn't dropped, but I think that's a great look as well. The Giants are allowing 3.3 receptions at an average of 23 receiving yards to the running back one. I took his longest rush at 15.5 at -105. He's around 14.3 for his longest rush on the year, but the Giants have basically given up almost 30 yards for a longest rush almost every game this season. They're right at 25 to 30 yards. So I love that. And then the 2 touchdown sprinkle was +210. And I sprinkled on that one a little bit. All
right. We're going to Atlanta next. We got Drake London of the Falcons. They're taking on the Carolina Panthers. Why do we like Drake here?
Yeah, I mean, he's been awesome as of late, especially for Atlanta. I know Atlanta, I didn't see Atlanta coming in this game being 3-6 and Carolina being 5-5. It's kind of a must-win game for Atlanta right now. But I grabbed his receiving yards line at 70+, and that was at -133. You can do the 75 or 74.5. I think that's around -115, but I'm willing to drink some juice for 70+. He's averaging 98.4 receiving yards in his last 10 games, so he's cleared this in 60% of those games. And the Panthers' defense has consistently failed to contain the top wide receivers. They're allowing wide receiver ones to get 82.3 receiving yards on the season. So I love his receiving yards. And then I love his longest reception at 23.5. I grabbed it at -110. Their Panthers are highly susceptible to the big play. They've been giving up a catch of 38.3 yards on average to opposing wide receiver ones this season. And lastly, his anytime touchdown, that's still at +103. Now, Carolina has actually been stingy at allowing wide receivers to score, but if you look at what Drake London has done the past few games, he's averaging 0.8 touchdowns, and he scored 6 touchdowns in his last 4 games. I think he finds the end zone in that one as well.
Yeah, and as DG just threw into the chat, he's been targeted on 33% of his routes against zone coverage, which is the third highest rate amongst wide receivers with at least 100 zone coverage routes run. Look at DG going deep diving into the data. I love it.
Hell of a nugget. Yeah, I like that.
I love it. All right, let's move to Tampa Bay. Look at that. That is a sick graphic. Wow, I love that. We're going to take Emeka Egbuka of the Buccaneers. They're facing the Bills, who are coming off a lackluster showing against the Dolphins. Why are we targeting the Bills for that reason?
No, I'm actually targeting this because I think Buffalo is going to be kind of pissed off in this one, and I think they're going to try to beat the hell out of Tampa Bay. Also, Tampa Bay has nobody left to throw to. You've got Cade Otton and you've got Egbuka. I don't think Godwin will be back. Mike Evans won't be there. So Egbuka is seeing 8.4 targets per game. His receiving line was at 68.5, which I feel is just really low for him because I feel like they're going to be in a catch-up game. But also, Buffalo has allowed 95.1 receiving yards to the wide receiver ones this season. They're a good team, but they can be beat deep. And Egbuka averages 75.2 receiving yards this season. So I think getting this at 68.5 is a gift. He's also known for the big play. I love his longest reception. It was at 24.5. He's cleared this in 7 of his last 9 games, averaging 34.6. And the Bills are allowing this at 27.6 for the lost reception to top receivers. And, man, if I'm putting him on the radar, I'm probably betting him to score. Egbuka is going to score a touchdown this weekend. He averages 0.7 touchdowns per game. And the average wide receiver one scores against Buffalo 55% of the time this season. So I think he also finds pay dirt for us.
Yeah, that middle area for Buffalo, once they get into the secondary, that middle zone, they can't cover a thing in that middle zone. It's open all the time. I don't know why more teams aren't targeting that middle section. I love that look for his longest reception. As RJ just brought up in the chat, Tampa Bay's running back may also be out, which means it really forces them into a one-dimensional team where they got to throw the ball, and Egbuka's your guy, right?
Yeah, Bucky was at walkthrough today, but it was a walkthrough. There wasn't full pads or anything. So Bucky is at least starting to log in some practice time. Now, I will feel better about that once he actually does a full practice. But I know he's trying to get back in, but it may not be this weekend, probably looking at next weekend, just based on what I read today.
All right. And as Joe just brought up in the chat, great stat, producer, because DG's bringing it today. He just threw in there, he said, Egbuka brought in 6 of 13 targets for 115 yards and a touchdown, and the Buccaneers 28-23 lost to the Patriots on Sunday. So he's obviously getting the attention of Baker Mayfield. It's a great spot to target against the Bills secondary that is mediocre at best. Lastly, time for a little who day with T. Higgins and the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were also involved in that debacle. Tell me there's some correlation here, or why do we like T to go off?
Yeah, it wasn't long ago. DG and I did a Thursday show, and the Steelers and the Bengals were playing, and I was on T. Higgins receiving yards. I think it was around 45 that night, which was low. I grabbed it at 59.5 this week because opposing wide receivers, they're averaging 61.8 receiving yards against the Steelers. Also, that Higgins has dominated the Steelers in his last few meetings. In his last 5 games against Pittsburgh, he's averaging 101.2 receiving yards. So he's cashed this in 4 of his last 5. Also, I like to call it the Joe Flacco effect. Since Joe Flacco has came in, T has seemed to be his go-to guy as of late. Right. He's cashed this line in 3 of his last 4. So I love his receiving yards. His longest reception set at 22.5. I love that as well. The average longest reception that Pittsburgh gives up is around 25.2 yards. So you're getting about a 3-yard discount on that. Also, as we saw Sunday night during our halftime show, Darius Slay went out with a concussion and is not expected to play. So you're going to have a Darius Slay-less defense. They're going to have to put the focus on Jamar Chase. You like that? I think it just came
that was good. Slayless.
Slayless. But so their emphasis is going to be on Jamar Chase, as you all know. It's going to be on Jamar Chase. You got to contain him, which I think is going to open up the door for T. Higgins. And I'm also picking T. Higgins to score a touchdown. He's scored 5 touchdowns in his last 5 games and has 3 touchdowns in his last 4 against Pitt. I grabbed that at plus 120. So I think Mr. T. has a big day on Sunday.
And as DG points out, he's caught 14 to 26 targets against man coverage for 217 yards, which is tied for 8th most with 4 touchdowns. He's also averaged 14.6 air yards per target. Look at these stats. I know somebody fed DG these stats. There's no way he came up with this on his own. He's got to be watching the show. And Higgins has totaled 181 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also adds that the Steelers has played man coverage on 42%, which is the 3rd highest rate. And that's where T shines because, as Joe puts it in the chat, T has been very, very good to Robbie.
He has. He really has. I would might look at Jamar Chase, but I think he's going to, like I said, they're going to be heavily focused on him. I think T is who's going to have the most this weekend against Pittsburgh. And he has. I mean, he's dominated him. Like I said, in the last 5 games, he's clearly killing them. So not going to stop doing what works.
And Joe, you're absolutely right. DG did not do this well in his homework in high school. I know for a fact there's no way he was doing this. As DG points out, all those stats courtesy of NFL Next Gen. So we don't want to get any copyright violations. We're giving credit where credit is due. Thank you very much. We got some wagers to get into because we got our best bets for tonight. And, we can't go into tonight without thinking about what can we do to give this show just a little bit more flavor.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Seabass, the only 5-star chef in the game. We all know sports betting is full of bad beats and tough calls, but when it comes to flavor, there's no second guessing. Bassett's Blends is the plus EV lock of every meal. We don't need a stinking model. Crafted with winning spices and bold taste, Bassett's Blends comes in 3 flavors, original, hot, and no salt, that's gonna turn chicken, steak, vegetables, any dish into a can't miss cover every night. With Bassett's Blends, there's no bad beats, no flavor fades, just guaranteed greatness. Check out the link right here where you can pick up your Bassett's Blends for a guaranteed lock every single night.
Yeah, good job, Seabass. Again, he did that in one take if y'all didn't know. But I am going to the Edmonton-Philly game tonight, and I'm taking Jack Roslovic for 1+ point at minus 128. Jack is coming off a great game where he had the game-winning goal in overtime against Columbus on Monday night. He has 4 goals and 5 assists in his last 8 games, so he's on pace to score 21 goals and a total of 54 points this season. Now, look, he's on the same line with Leon Draisaitl. I've never really been good at ice skating, but I think even I could put up an assist or a point if Leon was my line mate. But it's also what he's done against Philly. He has a goal in 2 of his last 3 games against the Flyers. The Flyers have struggled against that second-line right winger this season. They've given up 3 goals and 3 assists in their last 9 games. Also, if you want a little shot on goal props, I don't bet them because the NHL statisticians suck at grading what is a shot on goal and what isn't. But he's cleared his 2+ shots on goal in 10 of his last 10 games. So if you're looking for a parlay piece, I think you could throw that in there. It's around minus 180. But yeah, give me Jack Roslovic, 1+ point at minus 128.
Well, I am so glad I don't have a shots on goal play to follow up that analysis. They have been horrible this season. I am actually going Tusks up. That's right. We're going out to Utah, where the Mammoth are hosting the Buffalo Sabres, and I'm taking the Utah Mammoth on the 3-way money line at minus 135. Look, I know what you're saying, Mark. Why would you be backing the Mammoth, who just they haven't been playing well as of late? Well, let me tell you this. They finally get a break from being on the road. They're returning home after playing 8 of their last 9 games away from Salt Lake City. And that stretch, yes, it did. It ended very, very ugly. 3 straight losses, Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa. The underlying story here, though, is that they have been a completely different team when they're playing at the Delta Center. At the Delta Center, they're 4-1. On the road, they're just 5-6. And you can tell that these guys feed off of that hometown, the crowd energy. I love this spot. The Sabres come into this 0-3-2 away from home, and they've dropped 5 of their last 6 overall. The bigger concern for Buffalo, and this is huge because the injuries have plagued them to start this season throughout. They have just not been healthy, but they are without Rasmus Dahlin, who is their number one defensive man. I just don't see Buffalo being able to contain these mammoth shooters. There's 6 of them, by the way, who are already in double-digit points. Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz, Logan Cooley, Dylan Gunther, and newcomer JJ Peterka, who used to play for, that's right, the Buffalo Sabres. Look for him to have one of those, I'm going to show my ex what's up type of games. Whew.
Hell yeah. And I agree with all those takes. I was on Peterka the last time these teams faced this season. He got 3 shots on goal. I didn't bet that because, again, I don't bet those. But if you're looking at shots on goal, I think that's a great look. Surely he gets a point or a goal against his former team tonight, Mark. I think it may have to be a play for me later on.
I'm just telling you, I think that there's something to that when these guys face old teams, especially since Peterka was beloved in Buffalo. I mean, the fans loved him. And the front office was like, no, we got to move them. And they really didn't improve their situation by moving them. They saved some salary room, but that's it. They didn't bring anybody really in. And so, yes, I think it's one of those show your exes type of game for him. But
yeah, I think the Sabres GM and the Preds GM are drinking buddies because they make some of the dumbest decisions.
100%. 100%. We have come to that time. It is time to find out who tonight in hockey will light the lamp. We need some sort of intro music to that, don't you think? Like the red siren going around, and I added the siren delight to this, but it is what it is. We got Leon Draisaitl plus 110, Tage Thompson at plus 140, the Buffalo Sabre, Connor McDavid at plus 160, Connor Bedard at plus 175, and Tyler Bertuzzi at plus 270. Who do you like on this list, or are you going off the board?
I'm going with my hockey goat tonight. It's been too long since Leon has lit the lamp, and I grabbed that at plus 120 today. Look, He's been quiet as of late. He has, I think, a goal and assist in his last 4 games, and for Leon Draisaitl, that's just not going to cut it. So I think he gets back on the board tonight. I know Connor McDavid has scored in 3 straight, but you know as well as I do, they usually take turns. It doesn't seem like they both just go off all the time. It's either one or the other. But he has a great history against Philly. He has 5 goals and 7 assists in his last 8 games against the Flyer. He has a goal in 3 straight against the Flyer. So give me Leon Draisaitl at plus 120.
And this is a big game for Edmonton, right? I mean, McDavid came out in practice the other day. It just calling people out. And I think when you have your captain who's kind of throwing down the gauntlet and saying, you guys need to step it up, this is one of those games that just has a feel like, I'm not even going to come close to saying desperation, but it does have an added importance to this game. And I think offensively, I love Oilers to score goals in this one. I think that they can really turn it on against Philly. But I'm going with Connor. And no, not McDavid. Give me Connor Bedard to light the lamp tonight. Why? Because the Chicago Blackhawks, everybody's sleeping on. That's why. These guys are actually silently and flying under the Robbie's radar, and they're sneaky good. They're sneaky good. They have been putting up a ton of goals lately. They're playing at home. And guess what? They have Spencer Knight in goal. In fact, I don't know that that's been confirmed yet. He's expected to be in goal. I'm going to give you a bonus play right now.
All right.
Spencer Knight has had 11 starts this season. There's only been 2 times where the opposing team has scored in the first period against him. You can get the New Jersey Devils under 0.5 at plus 135. In all 5 of Spencer Knight's home games, nobody's touched him. The 2 times that people scored on him in the first, it actually happened when they were on the road. Love this spot. Spencer Knight hasn't allowed more than 2.5. He hasn't allowed more than 2 goals in any of his home games. Love the New Jersey team total under 3.5 here. More importantly, how's this for a nugget, Robbie? How many times do you think the Chicago Blackhawks, when they play on their home ice, they've been the first team to score a goal
this season.
this season.
Probably every game.
Almost 86%. 5 out of the 6 home games that they've played this season, they have scored first in the first period. Guess how many times the New Jersey Devils have trailed in the first period? I won't do it.
Probably a bunch. Probably a bunch because they're not known for scoring a ton of goals right now. So I would say probably a bunch.
Yeah, they've played 8 road games. They have trailed first in 5 of those road games. So that's another way to attack the first period in this. If you don't like goalies, if you that whole, sweating it out, and it's not for the weak of heart. I am telling you right now, that 20-minute sweat when you're hoping to God that team just does not score a goal. I'm a glutton for that. For me, that's where I thrive. If that's not your cup of tea, there are at least 2 other ways you could attack that game besides taking Connor Bedard to score a goal.
Jack Hughes scares me, though. That's the only thing on New Jersey that scares me is Jack Hughes. And I haven't looked at his props or anything for that game because it's hard for me to bet New Jersey Devils because they're so inconsistent. But that would be the thing that would scare me the most for that play would be just Jack Hughes doing Jack Hughes things. Other than that, yeah.
All I'm going to say is we're going to let the Chicago Blackhawks do Chicago Blackhawks thing in the first period. Now, do they win the game? Who cares? I just need to last the first 20 minutes. That's all I need. Wow. We're already at 30 minutes.
Damn.
That was a lot of information, bud.
That was a jam-packed show. I'm shocked we're at 20. I feel like we've actually been on here a minute because we gave out a lot of information today.
That was a lot. I'm kind of going through here. I know we have a couple of plays. I saw Taj gave out some plays. Taj is on Virginia Tech minus 12.5 for college basketball. He also likes Josh Giddey up to record 10 rebounds at plus 10. He's questionable at the moment, but went through shoot around and he expects him to play. I don't see. Are there any other plays that you guys are putting? Oh, TJ.
I like that look.
Listen, hats off to you, buddy. You have got me looking at these power play goals and trying to figure out now how we can adjust it and really start to come up with a way to target them. And you've been killing them lately, so I like it. The Edmonton Oilers 1+ power play goal at minus 105. I think I saw a stat this morning where Philadelphia is one of the most penalized teams. So this is a really, really good look at a way to target, again, that game, especially since Philadelphia, in fact, I know that they're the most penalized team because that's how I have Edmonton winning tonight.
I saw too, RJ has Derek White over 9.5 rebounds and assists. That was at plus 115. So I think he was putting that in the people's parlay as well.
Oh, got you right there. Derek White over 9.5 rebounds and assists. All right. So we've got one. Oh, and that's at plus 115. Wow. You know what I think we have to do? We got to come up with at plus 115. That's almost a standalone play, right?
Yeah. But I mean, hey, he called Celebrini for 2+ points last night, like plus 230, and that hit. So,
and can I tell you, I had him for 1 point, or I had him. The play of the day had him for 1 point. And those points did not come until the third period. Dude didn't take any shots, 0 shots on goal last night, and ends up with 2 assists in the 1 in overtime and 1 in the third period, like with 5 minutes left to go. Yeah, in the third.
Yeah,
it was
that game was 1-0 for 1-0 for forever. I thought when Minnesota got that Bodie goal in the second, of course, I dogged Matt Bodie yesterday on the show, and he's the one who scores the goal. So that's poetic.
So we've got Scott Wise says Draymond Green for 7 rebounds. All right. So we'll add that to the people's parlay. And
Nate has Nikita Kucherov for an assist for the people parlay. Don't hate that. They've got a lot of guys banged up on Tampa from what I read today as well. I think they're missing a lot of pieces tonight. But Kucherov, man, he's another beast. So Kucherov for an assist is not a bad look.
Okay. Kucherov Was that Kucherov Apple for the people?
Yeah, Kucherov Apple for the people.
Yeah. And let's see. Grizz at Celtics. DG has Grizz at Celtics over 228. What does the model have on that game? Grizz at Celtics over 228. Oh, yeah. Wow. We have that. The model has that projected to 233. That's a great look. That's a ton
Whoever
of value
said
there.
that John Morant reminds them of Al Bundy, that was the tweet of the year yesterday. All he cares about is shoes and complaining. That was amazing.
Tell me he's wrong.
There's no
Tell
lies.
me he's wrong.
Then he shouted at a 14-year-old fan yesterday. A fan wanted to get a high five, and Ja top trashed him on the way out.
So we got Spurs on the money line as well from Taj as a people's parlay. So we've got, I'm trying to see here. We got 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah,
we got over 4, right?
And I'm looking at JTS. The Spurs are 62.6% favorite to win that game. So,
all right,
don't hate that either.
So listen, here's what we'll do. I'm gonna put all these together. D Johnson, where the hell have you been? We have been talking punter props, and we missed you, buddy. So glad to see you. Glad you joined us today. Thoughts on AJ Mitchell over 15.5 points? Are you looking that up now, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I can look it up for you.
All right. So while Robbie's doing that, I will tell you this. And there's a lot of Draymond Green. Ooh, the people are speaking about Draymond Green. If we put him in the parlay, and he cashes for us, does that change your perception of Draymond Green?
No, I'm with DG. I still hate Draymond Green. I'm with DG on that one. Looking at AJ Mitchell, by the way, is it 15.5 is what he's looking at? So
yeah.
He's gone over this in 4 straight, hitting 21, 18, 21, and 17. The Lakers are pretty stout against shooting guards, though. They've only allowed 7, 10, and 15 in their last 3 games. So that one could be a sweat.
And DG brings up a great point. AJ Mitchell, but Dort should be returning tonight. So that might be something. I'll tell you what. Well, I'm glad you finally had a day off, buddy. I'm glad you were able to join us live. I love it. Listen, let's take all this. I'll put AJ Mitchell in maybe an alt line if we're expecting him to have a little bit fewer minutes with Dort coming back. That might be a look. Let's get all of this put in. People, we got to cash one of these damn people's parlays this week. This is crazy. We were firing on all cylinders. All right. I feel good, though. I think tonight's tonight. I feel really good. In fact, there's so many NBA games going on. Here's the other thing I'm going to do. Once we get the People's Parlay put together, I'm going to put together a 3-for-3 NBA parlay. Those things we have been cashing left and right. I will put that free. I'll make a short of it, and I will put it up on X, so you can find it here on Weekday Wagers in the shorts right after the People's Parlay is up, or you could just go to Twitter and find it there as well. I'm exhausted now, dude. But Sunday, I got to go do some research now. I'm all fired up. Can't be tired.
Yeah, you got more work to do, just like me.
Yeah, let me go get some.
Love work trips, but coming back from a work trip since last Wednesday, I've got a lot of stuff I've got to catch up on too.
Excellent. I know that Thursdays are always big because you and DG spend a lot of time talking Survivor. Any sort of tease about Survivor that you've got for tomorrow?
I think we covered it I know you two kind of covered it last week. One of the big dogs went down on Survivor last week. Spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1. If you're a fan of Nate, I'm sorry, he's gone. So it looks like there's a shift in the game now. So I'm anxious to see how the other guys counteract that.
DG's gonna kick my ass for that. took away his TV timeout segment. And in all fairness, dude, in all fairness, last week, DG's talking Survivor. And it's like me when I start talking about the Valkyries in the WNBA and just like, all right, is that who you like? All right, then, that's who I like too.
I definitely laughed at that. Yeah.
Who do we want on?
If you're on it, I'm on it.
Well, and Kim brings up a great question. How did she not know there were two Sophies? You know what, Kim? That's one thing that I won't let Rob spoil for you. You're going to have to tune in tomorrow, as I know you will. You're always here, and we can't thank you enough for that. Thank you. But you know what? Everybody, be like Kim. Join us here tomorrow, 2:00 Eastern time, right here at Weekday Wagers, where we break down some more best bets. And where else are you going to get Survivor talk? Nowhere. So until then, listen, enjoy the rest of your day. Be kind to one another. For Robbie, I am Mark. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you right here tomorrow. Take care.